This video demonstrates how to use vis.js to create a network diagram in a web page. The vis.js library is published under the MIT licensing model and is free to use in your projects. In this video, I will walk you through the steps required to integrate vis.js into a bare-bones static web page to display an interactive network diagram. I am using Visual Studio Code to display the HTML and the Live Server plugin to render the code with Google Chrome. With that said, let's get started. You are looking at a static web page that just displays a title and some Latin text. To add an interactive diagram, I'll first remove the boilerplate text and add an HTML element that will hold our diagram. This is just a placeholder element with an ID, a light gray background, and a black border. Next, we will write some JavaScript code to generate our visual network diagram inside our placeholder element. Here is our updated HTML with a placeholder element. The ID of the element will be passed to vis.js and will display the network. It also includes some styling. Creating the network requires three things, including the vis.js network library, defining the network's nodes and edges, and creating an instance of the network class. The new script tag takes care of including the necessary vis.js libraries. I have also created two instances of the vis.js dataset class, one to hold our node definitions and another to hold the edge definitions. Note that each node must have a unique ID and a label. The edge definitions just specify the starting and ending node IDs. Finally, the nodes and edges are wrapped in a data object and passed to the network constructor, along with the ID of the placeholder element. The constructor also accepts an object specifying options for the network display, but we are using default options at this point. Here is our initial network. It includes a lot of functionality right out of the box. One of the most important functions is the node positioning algorithm. This is based on a physics model, and there are a number of options for choosing which model to use. By default, vis.js uses repulsion model that nodes to move away from each other if they are too close. You can see this in action as I click and drag nodes around. Our next change will add labels to the edges in the diagram. This is a simple change to the edge definitions to add a label to each edge. To add arrowheads to our edges, a change to the network options is required. Here I have created an options object to do this and am passing it to the network constructor. vis.js accepts a large number of options. The ones shown here are just to define what kind of arrowheads will be applied to each edge. The default edge arrowheads look a little too large to me, so I have added an option to reduce their size. Here is the result. Next, we will look at how to interact with the network and respond to user actions, which are events in vis.js. There are many types of events that our code can respond to. I will demonstrate how to handle three: clicks, node selection, and node deselection. The most basic event that our page needs to respond to is the click event. Adding code to handle the click event and all other events is accomplished by calling the network's on method. This method requires two arguments, the name of the event and the function to call when the event is triggered. The name of the click event is, unsurprisingly, click. I have specified the code to handle this event in a Lambda expression that simply prints the event information to the console. Event handlers receive a single argument that contains information about the event. The specific information will vary depending on the type of event. As I click around in the network, you can see the console log messages in our Developer Tools window. The select node and deselect node events are triggered when the nodes are selected and deselected, when the user clicks on a node, clicks on the background, or clicks on another node. The code shown here simply logs the events as we did before. Note the order that the events are triggered. Selecting a new node will trigger a deselect node event first, followed by a select node event, and finally the click event. The final change in this video is to display some specific event information. I will call specific functions for each event type that will log information specific to that event type. This concludes this introduction to vis.js network visualization tools. You have seen how to hook the vis.js code into your HTML, how to define nodes and edges, how to customize them, and how to respond to user interface events. Thank you for watching. Please click on the like button below if you have found this video useful, and click the subscribe button if you want to receive notifications when new videos are posted.